Hello everybody. We have a series at St. Martin's called Tools for Spirituality, and this short session now is about spiritual direction. There are others on the website on tithing, on journaling, on meditating and other aspects of our spiritual life. But spiritual direction is probably something that you find a little bit daunting. Many people do. And I think the problem is that word direction. Because it's there, people think it's a sort of authoritarian relationship that exists with somebody who's going to sit and judge you. But the reality is very different. Spiritual direction is a gentle process in which two people sit together and discern what God is doing in the life of one of those people. The two people are called the spiritual director and the directee. The spiritual director is usually, but not always, a priest. And the directee is somebody who's just working on their journey with God, wanting to know what is it that God is doing in my life. And of course, for all of us, God speaks to us in a small, still voice. And very often it's quite difficult to discern what God is doing in our lives. For many people, it's a challenge to understand what He's doing. We get so busy with what we are doing, we get so busy with the day-to-day life, that we are unable to understand that God is working through us in the common and ordinary things of life. So spiritual direction is a gentle process. It's a journey, and it's something that should not be daunting or worrying at all. For many people, there's confusion too in that they feel that it's a form of counseling or psychological counseling. And while there is some similarity between the two, there's actually a very significant difference. Counseling is almost always addressing a specific problem, whereas spiritual direction sometimes might be doing that, but most times it's just trying to understand what God is doing in somebody's life. Eugene Peterson, the famous author who many of you know, says this about spiritual direction. He said, God is doing something in my life before I know it. My task is not to get God to do something that I want Him to do. It's to be aware of what He's doing in my life so that I can respond to it and participate in it and do what is right in my relationship with God. So spiritual direction is a process of listening. Margaret Gunther, a New York priest and well-known spiritual director who wrote a book with the subject, called it Holy Listening. And she said that all of us need to have somebody that we can talk to about our walk with God, someone to help us understand what God is doing. If you feel that a bit reluctant to open yourself up and your relationship with God to someone you hardly know, please understand that it's a very it's a process which trust is very important to both people, and the spiritual director is very aware of it. It's a confidential process. It's done normally by meeting at the church. It's in a situation where other people will not know what's been spoken about. It's spiritual direction is carried out always in the context of prayer. So I recommend it to you. There are people at St. Martin's who would be very happy to listen to you, to hear what you've got to say in your relationship with God. And I recommend that you take that opportunity if you want to know what God is doing in your life, what He is saying to you, and how He's acting in your life. Thank you.